In our last lecture, we discussed a topic with the name of flowchart completion task. And I told you one point in flowchart and completion task that these kind of questions have their own heading. Do you see this one? And this heading actually helps you to locate uh, in which part of the passage you may find answers of these questions, right? So similarly, the next topic that we are going to start today is notes completion task. And in notes completion task, there are uh, again a separate heading for it, and sometimes it also contains some subheadings. You may find a similar task in your listening test as well, and once we will start our listening lessons, I will talk on that as well. So in note chart completion tasks, they are just similar to flowchart completion tasks, but they may cover a larger part of the reading passage. Now remember one thing. What is a flowchart? Flowchart is generally a procedure, a process, or a sequence of steps that is described.
Okay.
There has to be some sequence. Sometimes it is just a sequence of events. Like in 1947, this thing happened. In 1965, this thing happened. In 1990, so and so. So throughout the passage, you may find different dates, and in those dates, different events would be described for you. And so there will be a flow of events in that case. But in most of the cases, flow chart completion task generally ask or describe something about some process, procedure, or sequence of steps. Now, what is a note? When I say taking notes, it means I'm just summarizing something, maybe a text, a speech, a lecture, or something under some small headings.
Okay.
Like we take notes, right? So note completion task is just like flowchart completion task, but it covers a larger part of the passage. Now, again, the information may not be presented in the same order as the information in the passage. Now, this thing, something about the sequence of the question. I generally cover this aspect in my free lesson, and that free lesson is very, very important, right? For you guys, I will cover this aspect in the end, like especially for Amjad. Um, even if you think that you are well prepared, please do attend my last lecture on reading. In that, I will sum up everything, whatever skills I'm teaching you over a week maybe, or maybe over a period of 8 days. I will sum up all those techniques and all those, you can say, tips that I've covered in that lecture. Plus, I will talk about, okay, what types of questions are there in IELTS test and how to approach different types of questions. Like in some cases, now let me pause here and let me give you a glimpse of that lecture. This will actually help you in better understanding of the lecture, right? So I'm pausing it here and I'm switching to another topic, which is about the sequence of the questions. This sequence actually this tells you that how you should approach a question. Let me first open up that thing. So I have opened up, I'm sorry, here. How do I make it this way? I will talk on these things maybe towards the end of question. Now, this is one kind of question, and this is known as matching heading questions. And many of the students, they are scared of matching heading questions. I'm not sure if any one of you is scared or not, but many of the students, they are scared of the questions.
Okay.
In matching heading questions, they give you a list of headings, like here, there's a list of headings, and there is a passage. That passage may contain maybe up to 6 or 8 paragraphs. Here I have shown only 3 paragraphs. This is just the first part of this passage, but there are actually 6 or 7 paragraphs in this text. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Uh,
generally, many of the IELTS trainer and IELTS books, they tell you
mm,
that before starting to answer these questions, you just go through this whole passage, all the 7 paragraphs, once, quickly. Okay?
okay.
And they call it
Okay.
as skim reading. But this technique, in my view, is not at all effective. Why? Because, once we read it quickly, we don't understand 100%. In most of the cases, we only get 30% of what is written in this paragraph. We will be able to understand only 30% of it. But
Okay.
as soon as we will jump to second or third paragraph, we will we will forget what was written in paragraph A and paragraph B.
Exactly.
So as once we will reach the last paragraph, we won't be able to recall or remember any of these paragraphs. So why to
Yes.
waste 5 to 7 minutes on skim reading?
Mm,
Right.
okay.
So if that is not the technique, then what is the right technique? We will talk on this later, but for now, I just want to tell you that there are some types of questions in which we have to read a paragraph or text first, and then we read the questions.
Okay.
Okay, like if I read paragraph A, okay, and after that I come here and I try to see that which heading suits this paragraph A. So I will
Okay.
read first heading, then I will read second heading, then I'll read third heading, and so on. So let's say it matches with number 4. So I will write A here, let's say, and I will cross it out. Then I will read paragraph B, and then I
Okay.
will again start matching this with these of headings. So I will check it with 1, then 2, then 3, then I'll jump to 5. Let's say this is 7. So I will write B here, and so on.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
if you see, if I'm saying that there are 7 paragraphs and there are 9 options for heading, that means 2 of the headings are extra here,
Yes.
right? Now, if some student start attempting this question in an opposite way, like he or she reads one heading and then try to match the paragraphs, this will be a stupidity, isn't it?
Yes.
Like,
Waste of time.
we are waste of time, lot of wastage. Then he will pick the second heading and then again read 7 paragraphs. So this is just a stupidity. And let's say if this heading was extra, after reading 7 paragraphs he would say, oh my god, this was extra, it doesn't match to anyone. So in
Ah.
these type of questions, you have to read your text first, and then you come to the questions.
Yes, sir.
But there are certain type of questions in which it is recommended to read the question first
Okay.
and then find your answer in the text. Amjad, is this point clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
I am.
okay. So there are some kind of question in which we have to read the question first and then jump to the text. And there are certain type of questions in which we have to read the paragraph or text first and then come to the questions. Now,
Okay.
this thing is governed by, you won't find any of these notes in any of the books. These are, I mean, this everything which is I'm showing you here now, this is my own work. So you may take screenshots whenever you need, right?
Yes.
Now, factors governing the question attempting technique. What to be read first while attempting a particular type of question? First read the passage, then read the question. Or first read the question, then read the passage. Actually, this depends on three things. Number one, category of the question. Number two, relative position of the question within a particular section. And number three, do you need to read the whole passage or part of the passage to find the answer?
Okay.
Now, what are these three things? I will discuss all these three things one by one. We will spend about 30 minutes on it now. And I want especially Shkil and Amjad, because you are already familiar with the types of the questions. For
Yes, sir.
Abdurrahman, this may not make sense 100%, but he will understand many of the points. And then I will, come back to this lecture again towards the end of reading sessions.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So now, I have called it as category of the question. Actually, it is just to differentiate them with the type of question. When we talk about type of question, we say true false question, matching heading questions, flowchart questions, note completion. So these are types. But I have introduced a new term, that is categories of question. And when I say categories of question, it means in sequence or in order questions.
Okay.
This is first category. Second category is not in sequence or random ordered questions. Third
Okay.
category is exceptional questions. That means they may be in sequence or may not be in sequence.
Okay.
Now let's discuss all of these one by one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Actually, this tool is not being handled by me today somehow. Okay. Now, categories, the first category I told you, in sequence question. Now let me show you a type of question. These are true false questions. In these kind of question, it is generally recommended that you read a question first, okay? And then
Okay.
you start reading the passage and try to find out your answer. The moment you find your answer, after that, like for question number one, your answer is here. Okay, right now I'm not telling you that how to find the answers of true false and not given questions. We will discuss this thing in detail, maybe towards end of today's class or maybe in the next class. But for now, just see that I read the question and I kept its native meaning in my mind, and then I started reading the passage. So as soon as I reached that part of the passage, which gives me some meaning, like here, if I say commuters and worker ants. So here, watching like worker ants, this word is here, and city commuters is here. So as soon as I reached this point, I focused it, I went very slow, and I tried to find the answer. So once I have found the answer, I will just put a mark here, and then I will go back and read second question.
Okay.
Then I will come back to the text and start reading from where I had left.
Okay.
Now I found the answer of second question here, and I put a mark here, and then I went back to read third question. And now the answer to third question is here, and answer to question number 4 is here. Now you see all the answers to these questions are coming in the same sequence in the passage as well.
Okay.
Like, it is not the case that answer to question number 4 is coming in first paragraph and answer to question number 1 is coming in the last paragraph. No, that is not the case. Everything is in sequence. We are getting the information in the passage in the same sequence as these questions are being asked.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I call them as in sequence questions. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, here are a list of in sequence question, and please remember, when I say generally, it means almost 90% of the time. Like, I have actually gone through almost, you can say, 4 to 5 books Okay, and in that I have gone through maybe about 30 tests, and based on those tests, I'm saying that 90% of the time, true false not given questions, and yes no not given question, which is not written here, yes no not given questions, sentence completion questions, multiple choice questions, these are in sequence questions.
Okay.
And to attempt these questions, first read the question, then read the passage to find the answer. Once you have found the answer, place a marker where you left reading. Read the next question, then come back to the passage and start reading from the point where you stopped reading previously from the marker. And repeat this procedure for the remaining set of questions. Is that clear? Amjad, any question, any
Yes.
doubts?
They're all clear.
All clear. Now, there's another type of questions, or you can say there's another category of questions in which the information in the passage and the questions are in a different sequence, like in matching heading questions. These headings are not in the same sequence as these paragraphs are. You know, logically, if I put all these headings in the same sequence, then there's no fun of asking you which paragraphs matches with it. Like the first question, for first question, I'll say it matches with A, it matches with B, second one, then C, and then so on. If I put everything in sequence, then you know there's no fun of asking you any questions here.
Okay.
Right? So logically, we can see that for these kind of questions, the information in the passage and the information in the question will be not in the same sequence. They will be randomly ordered. Clear? Like paragraph A may match with number 5, paragraph C may match with number 1.
Okay.
So this is not it. For these kind of questions, you first read the passage or paragraph, and then you read the question. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now this is second category, and now you can see information in the question is not in the same order as information in the passage. Generally, matching heading and matching information type questions. Matching headings and matching information type questions are not in sequence.
Yes,
So for
sir.
this, first read the part or paragraph from the passage, then compare the information in the text you just read with the given list of options, and so on. Done? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
not so sir.
Yeah.
Hello? So not in sequence questions, only matching heading or
And matching
this.
information. For the time being, just take these two examples, because you are not aware of the types of questions right now. You don't know all types of questions. So once we'll be done with all types of questions, then I will ask you that you tell me that what does this logic say here? Like, is it
Okay.
logical that these, to expect these kind of question in sequence or not? Like I just told you that in matching heading questions, it would be illogical to ask you if I put everything in sequence.
Yes.
Okay, so for the time being, you just take two examples here, matching heading and matching information type questions. Okay,
Okay.
now
Okay, sir.
third category is exceptional questions. Now, based on my research, you can say, or my work that I carried out to find out these things, uh, you can say the summary completion question, number 1, note completion question. This was the topic that brought me here. Okay,
Okay.
we started note completion question, table completion question, and flowchart diagrams or flowchart completion questions. These
Okay.
4 kind of questions are kind of, you can say, mixed type. Okay, now an easy way to remember these is that these kind of questions generally have their own heading. Like summary completion has its own heading, note completion has its own heading, table completion has its own heading, flowchart diagram has its own heading.
Okay.
We have already seen in flowchart diagram that it had its own heading, and I just told you in the start of the lecture that notes completion also has its own heading. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. Now, in exceptional type of questions, that means in these 4 type of questions,
Mm.
majority of the questions are in sequence. Remember this thing. That means
Okay.
if there are 5 questions, you may expect that 4 of these would be in sequence. Only 1 or sometimes 2 questions may not be in sequence. Okay?
Okay.
But when I say only 1 or 2 questions, there are 3 possibilities about these 1 or 2 questions.
Okay.
Number 1, these may be in sequence. Like if your mama is praying for you and you are lucky enough, you may get everything in sequence, right? Just like in sequence question. In that case, obviously, I'm saying that 4 are already in sequence. We are doubtful about, or we are expecting that 1 may or may not be in sequence. So if your luck works, you may find that all of these questions are in sequence.
Okay.
But there would be no gap. I will talk about this gap thing in a while, right? Now, second possibility is that that one question may be in sequence, but after a gap. Now, let me explain this gap thing.
Okay.
Now, see, now this is a paragraph, and this is flowchart completion, right?
Okay.
In flowchart completion, I told you that you may expect anything. Majority of these questions would be in sequence, but 1 or 2 may not be in sequence, right?
Okay.
Okay, so I was already alert, and I was expecting that 1 question may not be in sequence. So, but luckily, that was a good day for me. I found answer to question number 10 here. Can you see this underlined? First scouts. Answer to question number 11 here. Then answer to question number 12 here, and answer to question number 13 here. So everything, luckily, everything came in sequence without any big gap. All the answers are within 1 paragraph,
Okay.
right? But there's another scenario. In that scenario, answer to question number 19 came here. Answer to question number 20 came here. Answer to question number 21 came here. I hope you can see these red lines.
Yeah.
Now I'm expecting that, well, everything is going good. Now this one answer to question number 22 may be somewhere here in this paragraph, right? But
Okay.
I couldn't find the answer in paragraph B. At this stage, many of the candidates, they get confused and they think that, oh my God, I missed something, and they go back to, to the start of the passage.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Mm.
Now, you see, the answer is not even in paragraph C. Answer is in paragraph D, and that too in the last line of paragraph D. Okay,
Fine.
so now answer is still in sequence,
Okay.
but this answer has come after a big gap.
Okay.
Now, do you think is it worth doing to find one answer, after reading 3 paragraphs? Obviously, no.
Yeah.
It is just a wastage of time. So how to deal with these kind of questions? I will sum up this discussion in a while, but for the time being, just try to understand that what are the possibilities. Okay.
Okay.
Now coming back to the main slide, I told you there are 3 categories. 1, in sequence. 2nd, not in sequence. 3rd, mixed categories or exceptional category, right? We are discussing 3rd category right now. Within 3rd, I told you that majority will be in sequence, but
Okay.
there are 3 possibilities for one or two questions. And what are those possibilities? The first possibility is that that is a lucky day for me, and I found everything in sequence, luckily, without gap.
Okay.
Second possibility is that, well, answers are in sequence, but one or two answers have come after a big gap, this category.
Okay.
And third possibility is that those one or two questions may not be in sequence.
Okay.
Got it? Now, let me show you one example for this kind as well. Now, this is summary completion task, survey findings, and answer to question number 23. I was, expecting to find the answer of question number 23, but I couldn't find it. Answer to question number 24 has come first. You see?
Yeah.
Answer to question number 25 is here. Answer to question number 26 is here. Now, where is the answer to question number 3? It's here. The recent economic climate, right?
Okay.
Now, you can either say that, well, answer to question number 24 was not in sequence, rest everything was in sequence, or you can say that answer to question number 23 was not in sequence, rest all of them were in sequence. But in this case, only one question or answer to one question was not in sequence. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how to deal with these kind of questions? I'll sum up everything maybe in a while. Now, relative position of a set of questions, I will also talk about this thing in a while. For the time being, just ignore it. Now, the third criteria, which will govern that how to approach different type of question, is whether you need to read the whole or part of the passage. What does it mean?
Okay.
Actually, sometimes you need to read the whole passage to find out your answer. And sometimes you need to know only a part of the passage to find your answer. In this context, there are three possible conditions again. First, you don't need to read the whole passage to answer the question. Right?
Okay.
Second, you need to read the whole passage to look. Okay, let me first give you example of first one and then I will. Now, this is a passage. And here are 5 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope you can see it.
Yes.
Now, if you see, answer to all these 5 questions lie within these 1, 2, 3 initial paragraphs.
Okay.
And we don't need to know what is written here. We don't need to know.
Yes.
Okay. So, that was a good day for us. So everything, all answers came here within this passage. Done?
Yes.
Clear? Okay. Now, another situation is that answers to all the questions are still within 1 or 2 paragraphs, but I need to read the whole passage to decide or to locate that which 2 paragraphs are those in which my answers are hidden. Like, let me show you one example. Now, again, this is a passage and this is same survey findings. There are 4 questions. Okay. Answer to all these 4 questions are in paragraph E here in the bottom or paragraph F here on the top. Can you see this?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, still, you see, my answers are only in these 2 paragraphs. Okay. But how I would come to know that these 2 paragraphs contain my answers? It is only possible when I have read this whole passage. Right? So, in this particular case, I will have to read whole passage, but a good thing is that my answers will be restricted within a limited 1 or 2 paragraphs,
Yes, sir.
right?
Okay.
Now, the
Okay.
third thing, let me move to the third because only 3 minutes are left in this session. Then I will, restart the call. The third possibility is that all your answers are scattered throughout the passage. Like answer to question number 1 is here in the first paragraph. Answer to question number 2 is here. Answer to question number 3 is here. Answer to question number 4 is here. Answer to question number 5 is here. Now, just like previous type, I have to read whole passage. But
Yeah.
if you remember, in previous type, my answers were only within 1 or 2 paragraphs. But here, my answers are scattered throughout the passage.
Yes.
Got it? Now,
Yes, sir.
let me show you one more example for this. Now, this is, Amjad and, sorry, Shkil can
Yes, sir.
apprehend it that this is a kind of question in which, the names of 3 scientists or 4 scientists are given to you, and then some information is given to you in the questions.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
like these are, and then you are asked that who said or who worked or who said this information,
Okay.
Okay, sir.
right? So now in these kind of questions, you see, if I show you all the, sorry, the names of these scientists are scattered throughout the paragraph again. So again, I have to read the whole passage and my answers are scattered. So now I hope you understand what do we mean by this thing. Do you need to read the whole or part of the passage?
Okay.
In the first case, we found all our answers within one small portion or part of the passage. And we didn't need to read or know what is written in the remaining part of the passage.
Okay, sir.
In second case, still, we can find our answers within 1 or 2 paragraphs, but which 2 paragraphs are those? To locate this, we need to read the whole passage.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And in third case, obviously, we need to read the whole passage because all our answers are scattered throughout the passage.
Okay, sir.
Now, let me give you one more point, and then I will show you an actual question, question paper, and then we will discuss certain points.
Okay, sir.
Amjad and Shakil, you must be able to apprehend what I'm going to show you now.
Yes.
Look, I told you that, answer to these questions are here in paragraph E and in paragraph F here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but how would we know that these are the 2 paragraphs which contain answers to these questions? And I told you that to answer this, we need to read the whole passage.